Let's start to make sure that we are respectful of everybody's time. Welcome again, and we are super excited for this first webinar of this series. We posted about 20, but that are a little bit different, where we have a topic like the Great Resignation or quiet quitting, or do we pay everyone the same equal pay scale across the globe, or do we go country by country? So all of these topics we cover in our webinars, but today's topic is a little bit different. We heard a lot of people that had questions about how do they really provide something to their entire team, no matter where they live. And this is something that a lot of people are struggling with. So we thought to have some great panelists to help you with those questions. So Charles, if you can help me go to the next slide. So who am I? My name is Lana. I am the head of revenue here at SafetyWing, but I'm also a Y Combinator founder, an advisor to many different startups, and also EU for innovation. I've been a remote worker for quite some time and have been leading remote teams and building them from scratch, from 0 to 1, and millions in revenue here at SafetyWing for a couple of years now. So I have seen how we can build fully remote teams and also what to do to give them great benefits so that we attract the best talent and we also retain them once we attract the talent. Health benefits is one of those basic human needs that in the past has been really hard to figure out, but SafetyWing has actually solved that, and we have some ideas on how to help you. So maybe the next slide, Charles, will show us who SafetyWing is. We are a global benefits provider platform, and we provide things like health insurance, which you'll see on the next slide, income protection, retirement, maternity, paternity leave, as well as remote therapy, and lots of other things to kind of round out that global benefits package that you will be looking for as head of HR or head of people or COO at your company, and when you need to give these benefits to your team, what would you include in there? Let's go to the next slide. So today's agenda, we'll do a quick poll just to take a pulse and see what the makeup of the group is today. Then we're going to go into our panel discussion with our experts, and then we will have plenty of time for Q&A. So if you have some specific questions, I would recommend to write them down as soon as you can. Charles is compiling them and putting them on a document for us, so the panelists can take a look at them while you ask them, and then we make sure that we leave enough room at the end to answer your questions. I believe that making this interactive is the most fun part. So I want to make sure that we leave enough time to really get all your questions answered, because that's what you came here for, is to learn something. Let's go to the panel questions then, or yeah, the poll. Okay, so yeah, please choose one of these options. If your organization is borderless, there's about 5 options there. It would be nice if everybody voted so we can have an idea of the makeup of the group. Okay, so we have that the majority of you are actually in more than 2 countries, and then about 20% said no. So this is great. You will share some interesting things here today, and hopefully you'll walk away with some nuggets that you can use for your companies. Okay, so without further ado, I want to bring up our panelists today. We have Rebecca Kay from Dingus and Zazie, as well as Ahmad Rashid from Chill Chat. I'll let them turn on their camera as well as their microphone. And so Becca is first. And tell us a bit about yourself and why you are here. Would love to kind of like get the setting.
Amazing. Hi guys, I'm Becca. I am the COO and co-founder of Dingus and Zazzy. We're an unlimited creative department subscription, and we have over 100 staff in over 20 countries. So remote health, I'm sure we'll get into it more later, but remote health was an absolute essential and no-brainer for us because we wanted to make sure that no matter where our staff live, we hire based on talent, not postal code. So we want to make sure that they can live healthy lives and be protected.
Excellent. Thank you, Becca. Ahmad?
Yeah, hi. Thanks for inviting me here. I'm really happy to be here. My name is Ahmed Rashid. I'm the head of people at ChillChat. ChillChat is a collaborative platform that we're developing that basically allows people to build these amazing virtual worlds, enjoy them with their friends, go on cool adventures, and we're really excited about what we're building. Obviously, we're a startup. We have people working in many different countries. Think about 8 countries at the moment. And it was quite a challenge to figure out how we're going to be able to support all those people. So we're super happy we jumped upon SafetyWing and are able to support our people, and excited to talk about it today.
Very cool. So maybe we can start with the first topic, which is what actually is borderless health insurance. I get a lot of people that ask me this thing. I also do talk about this on LinkedIn quite a bit, so feel free to also connect with me there because I go over different topics. But for me personally, being someone that travels the world on a consistent basis with my family, because my company gives us the freedom to do so, to work from anywhere in the world in whatever time zone we choose to. We also needed something that would cover us in terms of health insurance. So what that means is that traditional health insurance usually covers you in one country. So let's say I'm in the US at the moment and I only have United Healthcare. I cannot live in Germany for 3 months or live in Albania for 4 months and go to Italy for another 3 months and be covered there as I'm traveling. So that is the limitation that the old world insurance companies have. And they put those restrictions on employees and contractors, which means that as your company is either remote first or is trying to go remote and is hiring people globally, you have it really difficult to figure out how do you cover everyone with the same health benefit. Do you give them a stipend, but really is a stipend equal to everyone? Is $100 in the US equal to $100 in Italy? It's not. So we get a lot of companies and startups, coming to us and saying, oh, I really need to figure this thing out. Like, I don't know how to do it. It's so difficult. If I have to go country by country and figure out insurance in each country, I mean, it would be a nightmare to handle, 20 countries that Becca has, 70 countries that SafetyWing has team members in. So that can become a complete nightmare for the HR person, the heads of people, the COO of the company that is trying to figure out benefits. And that's why we came up with this borderless health insurance, to make it super easy for the next wave of remote workers that are going to only grow from here, from the pandemic. So I'd really love to hear kind of like what Becca and Ahmed think, as they do have these remote first companies, or they give the freedom to their team members to travel all over the world. And how did what was their journey like to look for something like this, and how has this solved a lot of the pain points they had? So feel free, Becca, you can go first.
If I'm being honest, exactly what you experienced. I talked to so many insurance companies. Like, I don't want to tell you how many meetings I booked, how many phone calls I made, trying to solve this healthcare problem that honestly, it came from one of our individuals who his wife was expecting and he couldn't afford her to go to a hospital to have a baby. We took care of him. Like, we were like, we made sure he was okay in that situation. But when that situation happened, good Lord, we're like, this is not cool. So I was calling everywhere, and any company I talked to, they're like, no, we'll only do coverage in Brazil, or we'll only do coverage in the United States, or we'll only do coverage in Canada. And I'm like, cool, that solves none of my problems. And they're like, yeah, what you want doesn't exist. Sorry, you just got to go with a different provider in every single country. And I was like, thinking about like the undertaking that would be, and I was about to start digging into trying to somehow do that. Logistical nightmare. It would have been a full-time job when I found SafetyWing, and it was want to say it's just like a gift, because the sign-up process was so easy and I don't have to stress about my staff anymore.
Awesome.
That's so interesting. Yeah, thank you, Becca, for sharing that. But what do you mean by logistical nightmare? So I just want to dig further into that. Like, so you would have to like get a provider, then they would have to figure out the pricing for that one country. Then like you'll get a different invoice, correct? All of that, and then you have to manage all of that.
Companies, 20 different invoices, 20 different year-end negotiations, 20 different ways to submit receipts, trying to keep all your training staff on 20 different methods and knowing who needs to go to which one. The billing alone would be a nightmare. And then like a lot like SafetyWing, my staff want to travel. I have people who like, I don't even know what countries they're in 3/4 of the time, because they're going and they're seeing the world, because we don't care. One of our co-founders, she saw almost every single country in South America this year because she just jumped countries every 2 weeks. You wouldn't be covered in 99% of those countries with normal Canadian health coverage, which is horrifying. But it's also the reality of like the old school systems. They don't work for my team.
Cool. Ahmad?
Yeah, honestly, for us, we had kind of the same experience. When we originally started out, medical insurance and health insurance was not, we didn't see that as a benefit. We saw that as a requirement. It's our responsibility to make sure that our team members have that support and that service to be able to feel comfortable and to be able to feel supported. So the challenge was, how do we get an insurance policy that covers people in all these different countries? I actually had a lot of experience with insurance companies when I was working in the Middle East, and it's always so difficult to work with them. Their policies and procedures are so rigid. They're not willing to work with you unless you've got like hundreds of employees. So for startups, it's so difficult. Most of the time when you call the insurance companies, if you have less than 20 people, 15 people, they don't necessarily like even take you seriously. So when we started this journey, initially, actually, we took a local policy in Thailand because we had the company set up there. Now we want to take insurance for our employees in Ukraine, in Malaysia, in Indonesia, in Philippines. How do we do that? Well, when we talk to insurance companies, they tell us, okay, do you have a company there? Do you have a legal entity set up there? No? Okay, well, we can't do it. Oh, you want us to cover all the countries in one policy? No, you got to open a different policy. There's no way we're going to be able to manage all these different policies, like Becca was mentioning, different invoices, different procedures. What happens when there's issues with the claim? Then all of a sudden time zones come into play. And it was such an incredibly difficult process. And at the time, we didn't understand really what borderless health insurance was, or that even there was something like borderless health insurance that was offered. And when we came upon SafetyWing, we were surprised, like this exists? Why is this not more popular? Why are more companies not using something like this? And we onboarded, and it's been a great experience so far. And we're happy that we're able to tell our team members, don't worry, you're covered. You're covered here, you're covered there, wherever you go. You have that peace of mind, because it's so important. It's, again, it's not, we don't look at this as a benefit, it's a necessity. We want you comfortable in your personal life, we want you cared for, and we want you to have access to these services so that we can make sure you're okay enough to work with us. So it was a no-brainer for us.
You know, that's so interesting, Ahmad, that you said that, because a lot of companies overlook this piece that is so important, and they don't understand the implications it can have for their company and their business. Let's say someone, God forbid, would be diagnosed with a life-threatening disease. That means that you could lose, you know, hundreds of thousands of dollars in productivity for that person. But not only that person, but also like the business. So, you know, that person not being covered, you know, the stress that it would cause their family, themselves, everyone around them, is really hard to fathom, because a lot of our team members are young. But like, if something like that were to happen, you know that they have peace of mind. And also, as they're traveling the world, and they're going from different, you know, cultures and different environments, it's also important to know that, oh wow, you know, they will be covered if they're in Thailand, or if they're in Brazil, or something were to happen there. They can be evacuated to the best facility, for example, that you know, they can really take care of them. But I see a lot of companies be like, oh no, we just provide a stipend, we're fine with that. Why would we need to give them health insurance? What I've seen is that a lot of people will put this off because, first of all, it shouldn't be on the person to figure out health insurance because, one, it's complicated. Two, you need to negotiate the pricing. And three, a lot of people they don't have the time to do that. So that's why I say the onus should be on the company to make sure that they are taking due care of their people, versus leaving it on them and saying like, oh, here's $100 a month, you go figure this out. Because a lot of times it's really hard to figure it out. Like you saw yourself, you couldn't find like a health insurance that would do this, and you barely found SafetyWing somehow. But yeah, let alone like a single person to do that themselves.
And just to add to
Yeah.
that, a lot of our staff have children, and like you're not going to be at your best if you're concerned or worried about your child. If you can't afford healthcare for your child, like healthcare is a basic human right. So like for our staff to go to bed knowing that like if their kid breaks their arm in school, they are not going to bankrupt themselves to get their kid's arm fixed. Like it's that peace of mind that every human being should have, knowing that not only they're okay, but that their kids are going to be okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to add as well. We had some slight options. Like we found, I think in Brazil, maybe there was one company that was like, yeah, okay, maybe we'll do it. And the last thing we wanted to do was offer something and say like, okay, you're covered. Good luck. We didn't want to just say you're covered and then, because all the time, most of the time that falls on the team member, and then they're having to run after the insurance and they're having to fight for claims. That's not providing health insurance. We didn't want to just say we're providing this to our team members. We want to make sure that when we got them something, that they have that peace of mind. It's something that they can actually use and feel comfortable using and know that they're safe. So as she was saying, they can sleep peacefully knowing, okay, if anything happens, we're covered.
That's really interesting because it brings me to like this culture fit, right? Like we are a startup. We were started in Y Combinator in 2018. We've had a lot of success, thousands of companies and people that use SafetyWing. But I always, we talk a lot about our culture. We basically have 100% retention. People are super happy. And just having a quick conversation with you guys, it seems like your companies are kind of doing the same thing, where you are allowing this freedom and flexibility as a basic kind of like benefit that you give to everyone. And then on top of that, you build this other like benefits on there. So I'd love to kind of like hear from your side, like how did you see the culture fit with a company like SafetyWing versus like a regular insurance company? I know that, we would have your back.
I went first the last 2 times. Go ahead.
Yeah, no problem, no problem. Yeah, we talk a lot in our company. Culture is super important because it's our identity. It's how we make sure that everybody is kind of on the same wavelength. They're excited, they're passionate, they're motivated. And most of these traditional insurance companies, they're incredibly bureaucratic. You got to submit papers, you got to get things stamped. Things take time. They're not helpful. They're not supportive. They're not easy to talk to. They're pretty much the opposite of what we're trying to do. So that culture fit that we found with SafetyWing was apparent immediately from the first interaction. I mean, we initially interacted with Ashley, and she was so patient because I'm not going to lie to you, we were initially skeptical. Like, really? Is this really something that you are providing? Because we had so many bad experiences previously, especially me, where you're fighting with the insurance company because they told you something and then all of a sudden it's like, well, we don't really do that. And we read the terms and conditions through like 100%. And I sent this like 3-page document. Actually, I need to answer all the questions to be sure. She was super patient. She was super helpful. She answered all our questions. And then she onboarded us and she passed us off to Katie, who was just as incredible, super positive, super fun, sending emails just to check up.
Mm-hmm.
And those are the kind of things that make us happy that we're using SafetyWing because they align with the kind of culture that we're trying to build. We want people to be in the company happy, energetic, passionate, and enjoying what they're doing, because we don't want people here for the short term. We're trying to build something great, and we want people here with us through this entire journey. And being able to work with a company like SafetyWing that creates that kind of same positive energy allows that to trickle down, so that when they're experiencing that service that you provide at SafetyWing, it aligns with the things that we put importance on. So it's been awesome.
I couldn't agree more. Like, honestly, I'm not here to steal humans, but like Sarah and Diane are like the perfect Dingus and Zazzy culture fit. And that was one of the biggest impetuses to like get started with this, is like, they're just like us. Like, we've dealt, we've all dealt with that traditional insurance company. If I'm being honest, I canceled on an insurance company because they wouldn't use my employees' pronouns the way, like the employees' pronouns. And I was like, you can't even respect a person enough to call them by how they want to be called. I don't really want to be in business with you. Meanwhile, SafetyWing, it's like, if I could just like clone Sarah and Diane and then hire them, I would, because they're fantastic. They're so wonderful to deal with. It's like they're just exuding sunshine 24/7. And every time I get an email from them, it just brings me joy, because they're amazing to deal with, great customer service. And it's, like you said, not that stuffy insurance company that just doesn't get it.
Yeah, that's all good to hear. I mean, we take a lot of pride in that, and just like you guys, we make sure that it's our team is having fun, being taken care of, relaxed and not worried about their job, be able to kind of like see the world and live their best life, kind of thing. And I think that like exudes through, and like it connects with the client, and that's one part that many people don't see until they really start interacting with us. And it's really easy for people to just like look at numbers and be like, oh, maybe I'll just do this, it's easier for me, I'll just put it off. And then maybe something comes up where, oh my God, my best talent is being poached because I don't offer health insurance. They're going to Google or they're going to Amazon. And this is something that, the alarm bells will ring, and then they'll just like come to us like screaming, like, I need something, versus being more proactive about it and kind of like understanding their options. And really, it brings me to this point where a lot of people are worried that it's very expensive and it's not affordable. I want to hear from you guys, from your experience looking at different companies. How did you find the pricing at this type of borderless health insurance versus something that is country by country? And just speak a little bit about that, because I'm sure that people are like, oh, I don't know, do they charge per country? Is it complicated? Do I have to worry about, can I afford it as a small company? Can I afford it as a bigger company? Those questions.
I can speak from my experience when I say so I decided to start with Brazil when I was doing my attempt at country by country health insurance. I started with Brazil because that's where I have the most employees. So it's kind of funny that you were also looking at Brazil. I got quotes from 3 different companies in Brazil. The lowest one was $50 a month more than SafetyWing per person. The lowest one. Then from there, it just skyrocketed the prices that they wanted. It's like $80 a month for base coverage at SafetyWing. I'm like, compared to everywhere else I found, I'm like, I can't afford not to pay this. This is perfect.
Yeah, I'd say that the price we were actually pretty surprised by how competitive the price was. I mean, initially when we started actually getting quotations for the international versions that the other insurance companies were showing, it was something we definitely would not have been able to afford. Besides the fact that when you take a look at actually the benefits that they provide, the things that they cover, they were not really that good. It was just kind of like, okay, you want to say you have an insurance policy, okay, we're going to charge you this month and we're going to do it the way that you want, but you're very limited in what we cover. Whereas when we started interacting with SafetyWing, we were kind of surprised by the price, because first of all, it's shown as a month. It's kind of, we think of it as like a monthly subscription kind of. Most of the insurance companies will give you like this annual premium. We saw it on a monthly breakdown, and it included quite more than we had expected. I was actually pretty surprised, like, oh, all this is included, inpatient, outpatient, dental. We were pretty surprised. So I thought actually that the price was pretty competitive. I did not expect that you would be able to provide that service at that cost point.
Yeah, this is really fun to hear, because it's actually my first time doing this kind of webinar, even though I've done 20 of them with And we talk about general topics. This is like very specific to like this type of topic, which is obviously very near and dear to our heart. So it's cool to hear it from like customers, actual customers, which you don't pay. And they were just happy to kind of like be on here to like help the rest of you kind of answer some of those questions that you might have. Which leads me to maybe start to discuss, maybe look at some questions that people have. Charles, have we seen some questions come up? That way we can start to digest those. But before we get there, maybe one more question for you guys is, what other benefits are you offering to your team above, let's say, the health insurance part? This is something that a lot of companies will also ask me, and we talk about this a lot because at SafetyWing, what we do is that we provide a lot of really fun benefits, and they are benefits that are actually usable and appreciated by the team because we actually vote on them every 6 months. So our team gets together and we do this like planning and prioritization, and we say, okay, what are the top things that you want to see in the next 6 months? And then people will vote, and then we'll maybe like implement the first one or the second one or all three if they're easily done. Of course, if they're too expensive or they're out of this world, of course, we wouldn't be able to do them. But a lot of them are very normal things which we have been able to implement, and the whole team is quite happy. So I'm curious to see what you guys are doing in your teams, because I know that the audience will also appreciate that.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I can talk a little bit about this because I think we do a phenomenal job at always thinking about our team members first. Actually, because it's one of the first experiences in a company where I see like the company is actually thinking, how do we make this better for our team members? So we're always constantly brainstorming, how can we make this environment better for the people that are here so that we make sure they're comfortable? So we have a bunch of things. First of all, we're completely hybrid working. We don't care whether you're working from the beach or home, or if you want to come to an office, we don't really care. We don't have a fixed time schedule. You got to work 9 to 6. We understand that everybody has different times within the day in which they're more efficient or they're more comfortable working. So we allow people to work as however they want, so that they're comfortable. We offer an unlimited vacation policy. The only days we count is the minimum that we require people to take. So we make sure that within the year, people are taking enough vacation, because it's very important to kind of take that time away from work so you can relax and not constantly be online. But there's no maximum. You take as much vacation as you want. We also offer something called sorry.
Can I just dig in on that? Like, how do you make sure that you enforce that policy? Because this is a big thing actually right now, and a lot of HR publications will write about it, how unlimited vacation is no vacation, because a lot of the management does not take it. Therefore, they don't set a good example. So I wanted to see how you guys ensure that. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah, so we track throughout the year how many days everybody's taking off, and we've set reminders for ourselves because the responsibility is on us. If we don't remind people and push them to take that vacation, then there are a lot of people who forget. They're kind of in their routine and they're just doing their thing, and they forget actually sometimes, oh, I got to take vacation. So periodically we review and we take a look at who's on track to use a good amount of vacation and who's kind of lagging behind. And we make sure to send out reminders and encourage people to take that personal time. It doesn't mean you got to travel or go whatever, but at least if you want to spend a week at home with your family or with your friends just relaxing, it's still time away from work, and we encourage everybody to do it. So we track online through our database, and we just remind people.
Sorry, and you were saying other benefits after this.
Yeah, sorry. We also offer something we call our corporate wellness program. We want people to have access outside of medical insurance services for wellness. Now, we actually, in the beginning, we thought we want people to access the gym. And then we thought, well, maybe gym and fitness is not wellness for everybody. I think everybody has a different definition of what they consider wellness for themselves personally. So we came up with this program that allocates a budget yearly for every team member for what wellness means to them. Whether that means working on your physical health, your mental health, if you want to purchase certain equipment to maybe help you feel more comfortable at home, we allow our team members to kind of make the program the way they want, and we support them on that because we think it's really important. And so far, it's been an awesome program. Some people go to the gym, some people do other things. We've purchased standing desk for some people, so it's been really awesome. And just recently, we are going to implement a program for training and development where we will allocate a certain budget as well for people who want to develop their skills, whether you want to within what you're doing within the company, or whether you want to grow your experience and maybe learn another skill outside of what you're currently doing, because we want people to feel as though they're developing their skills within their career and they're growing and they're engaged. That will always benefit the person and benefit the company. So just some of the things that we offer, and we're always thinking of new ways to add stuff.
Very cool.
I love all of that. One other one, I'm just gonna throw one out there that you had, like, just a different one just to mix things up here. We hire all over the world, but there's some countries that electricity access is not always consistent. A lot of countries like Sri Lanka or South Africa, they experience load shedding, and it's completely out of their control, but they'll be out of power for like 4, 6, 8 hours a day, which I mean sucks, man, because I don't want like an employee to feel like they're unable to, like, you know, function because they just don't have power. So one thing that we do prioritize is every time we interview somebody, we ask if they live in an area impacted by load shedding, and if they are, we actually buy them basically a giant power pack and we ship it to their house, so that no matter what, they have electricity in their home for what they need.
Awesome.
That's so cool.
A little different, but it came from, it was not even our idea. It was one of our staff members who's like, hey, I want to mount myself this to solve my power problem. Can we look at doing something like this for other people? And I was like, yeah, and I'm also going to pay you back for what you bought yourself. Like, here's some money.
That's cool. I wonder if like Starlink could be a benefit as well. Like if they're in a remote location where internet is not available, that could be interesting to access more talent. Anyway, it's a bigger thing. That's cool. I think we have a couple of questions. So the first one is, can you use this for contractors? I know we discussed this a bit earlier in terms of like how you pay your team members, and we came up with some good ideas and some companies that help you do that. But do you guys use this for both your contractors and your employees?
Absolutely, we do. I don't care what your official title is in my company, you still deserve to be healthy.
Yep, everybody's covered, regardless of whether actually, most of the people we consider contractors on paper, just because we can't set up a legal entity in every country to hire them, but we consider them employees within the company. Or we consider them team members. Actually, we don't even like to use the word employee. So they're all team members. So as a team member, you get all the benefits that every other team member gets.
Same thing here.
Yeah, I believe it's this like duty of care that every company has towards their team members. It doesn't matter whether it's an employee or contractor. A lot of people are worried that if they provide benefit, it might imply some kind of employment. However, we would say that it sits outside of that, because it's like your basic duty of care towards that person, that they are healthy for them to perform their duties at work, right? It's not about establishing a relationship that would make you, liable. It's more about having that basic duty of care that they are able to perform what they have been hired for, whatever that title is or contract does.
And if you need a functional computer to do your job, that is a tool for your work. Your body is also a tool for your work, no matter what kind of work you're doing. So you gotta take care of it.
Yeah,
exactly. We have to have some kind of insurance on it. Okay, cool. The other one was, does this cover things like dental, maternity screenings, and vaccines? Have you guys read those?
Oh, I looked so hardcore into the maternity one, because that's why we got started here to begin with, was my one employee whose wife was pregnant and they didn't have coverage to get her to a hospital. So I was like, these are literally things I looked for when I found SafetyWing, was things like, let's give birth safely, please.
Yeah, actually, I wasn't even expecting that some of these benefits were gonna get included. I thought, okay, this got to be some kind of basic medical insurance where people are just got the basic coverage everywhere in the world. But I was surprised when I was like, whoa, this covers dental, this covers vision, screening, vaccinations, maternity. I was really surprised, but yeah, it covers everything. So across the board.
Correct. You guys read the small print very well everywhere.
And honestly, the fact that it can cover, you can add their partners and their children, and
Yeah.
that's also huge. Like,
Yeah.
no, like, why not cover the whole
Cool.
family?
Yeah. So yeah, we don't discriminate whether that person has to be a husband or wife. If they're a domestic partner, then you also are covered, which is kind of nice. I don't know if everybody does that, but it is something that it's important to many companies these days, because you want to respect the choices of your team members and not just say like, oh no, it's only the married people that get this kind of thing.
Not everybody gets married anymore, and that's okay.
Exactly.
Doesn't mean they
And
don't
that's
deserve
okay. Exactly. Very cool. I guess one more question here. If one of my employees or contractors need surgery, emergency care, wherever they might be, how does the reimbursement work? Is it direct billing or, oh yeah, because it could be very expensive. They won't have that amount out of pocket. Do you guys know, or
I
did I
think I know.
ask Katie? Okay.
From my understanding, they have a number on their SafetyWing card that if an individual gets hospitalized for whatever reason, they or their humans taking care of them can call that number, and they are not going to have to pay $100,000 cash out of pocket. That's what SafetyWing and the hospital billing department are for.
Yep. Correct. Excellent. You guys are good. Oh my goodness. Didn't even train you.
No, we signed up for.
Yeah, we read all the terms and conditions.
You did, yeah, you did a good job, like really like reading the small print, because a lot of people will have questions, but it's all in the policy document, so it's pretty easy. And also that's the cool thing, is like we make the policy documents very readable. So I know that insurance documents can be extremely hard to read and to decipher. And we try to put just everyday words that you use to make them very clear and concise. And also shorten it as much as possible and bold things that you need to know. So you can also search the document. If you don't know something, you can just put dental, and then it shows you exactly what's covered, or maternity, what is the limit, all of that stuff, which is really cool. Whereas with other companies in the past, I never looked at the policy document because it's just, so giant, and I just got lost with the first 2 paragraphs.
And just to give a special shout out to like the girls I deal with at SafetyWing, most of my staff, English isn't necessarily their first language. The majority of my staff, Spanish or Portuguese is their primary language. So she's actually working on getting like the onboarding documents in those languages for me, so that even though they've already got them in English, it's really nice if they or their partners can go through it in their preferred language as well. So like just the fact she'd go out of her way to do that was just so sweet, because it makes a difference if a person can have a bit more understanding.
Yes, absolutely. And actually, it's a good point, because we do have a lot of team members from like all over the world ourselves, like 70 countries. And we do offer, calls in Spanish as well. So, to somebody to help you out with understanding it. But also other languages, if somebody speaks the language, I'll help you kind of work there. And that's the thing, like we hire people from all over the world, and do not discriminate and say, no, your English has to be perfect to be working here. You have to be an English speaker, a native English speaker, to be working here. And that's it really opens your talent door pool wide open, and you get some really amazing people that are super passionate about your mission.
Looks like we have another question.
Oh, what is it?
Okay. How far in advance do you require when someone wants to change work location?
I don't know if there's a requirement there, as long as, yeah.
Yeah, no requirement necessary is what I've told my staff, at least, as far as I understand it. I mean, hell, if they had to let SafetyWing know every time they jumped countries, you guys would be getting 46 emails a week from my staff alone.
Yeah. Agreed. I know we have Katie here, so Katie, let us know if that question is different. But I think you just, when you apply, you put the country of residence, which means whichever country that you are most in. So whether it's, Colombia or Albania or Germany, and then you can travel and not have to change that every month you go somewhere else. I mean, I don't do that, but nobody else does. Where are you seeing the questions? Let's see.
Charles dropped it in our questions.
Oh,
page.
cool. Awesome. Okay, got it. Okay. Any other questions for our panel? They've been super helpful. We don't want to obviously keep you guys here if there's not other questions, but otherwise, I think this has been super helpful. Do you, Becca, Ahmad, anything that you want to add that you didn't add that maybe help others in their journey of, I guess, taking care of their team members?
No, honestly, I feel like we covered everything I had on my list.
I would say probably just as a final point, it's quite refreshing to work with a company that you feel like is working with you and not working against you. Most of the time, traditional insurance companies, it's kind of like a battle. It's kind of as if they're trying not to give you the service that you're paying for, and it's super refreshing to work with a company that is providing you the services that they've promised you without you constantly having to think like, when I am going to have to use this, are they going to make my life difficult? Are they not going to make it easy for me? And I think even if we had all employees in one location, I would still probably opt to use this option just because the experience has been so good. Katie's done such a phenomenal job with keeping up with us and keeping in touch and making things easy for us. That level of just contact helps build the relationship and helps me feel comfortable that when our team members are going to need help, they're going to have the support that they need. So I would say even if all your employees are in the same place, you don't necessarily have to use traditional medical insurance now. There are other options, which I don't think everybody knows about. So, let's switch everybody.
Thank you for saying that, Ahmad. That's really, really helpful. And actually, Austin came to say hello to you. I don't know if you saw that note, but Austin Kurtau, who's she's also on our team. She actually just had a baby, and yeah, wanted to say hello to all of you guys.
Awesome.
But she's on our team, yeah, and she's on her maternity leave, but wanted to be here to see this. So this is awesome. Thank you, Austin. But yeah, I wanted to thank you guys. If there's no more questions from everyone else, I think we're good. I think this is very helpful. Becca, Ahmad, you guys were amazing. I think this was one of the best, webinars we've hosted. Very helpful, kind of like from start to finish in terms of like, where do you start? What's important? Why do it? What about contractors versus employees? How does it work around the world? I think we hit on everything. If you guys have extra questions, then feel free to book a meeting. Then also we have other fun webinars coming up in October. So one is down here, number 20, should be quite cool. So feel free to sign up for that with just a QR code, and we would be happy to see you again. So yeah, thank you, Becca. Thank you, Ahmad. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
You guys have been fantastic. Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you, everyone that joined us. Have a great rest of your day. We'll give some of the time back to you. Have a good one. Bye.
See ya.